So, what happens when the very people building our AI future are invited inside the government to write the rules? We're going to dive into how the biggest names in tech now have a seat at the table, shaping the laws that will govern all of us.
And that quote really nails it. This isn't just a friendly chat or a bit of outside advice. We're talking about official advisory roles for the people who run the companies, build the hardware, and control the AI that's changing our world. It's a direct pipeline from Silicon Valley to the White House.
And that, right there, is the billion-dollar question. It's a huge puzzle. The people who know the most about this stuff are also the ones with the most to gain or lose financially. So how do you get that priceless expertise without letting them just write the rules to benefit themselves? That's the tightrope the government is trying to walk, and we're about to see exactly how they're doing it. All right, first things first. To really get a handle on what's at stake, we need to see who's on the guest list. Who, exactly, got an invitation to help shape America's AI policy? Well, this council, it's officially called the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, or PCAST. It reads like a who's who of Silicon Valley. You've got Mark Zuckerberg from Meta running the social media world. You have Jensen Huang from NVIDIA and Lisa Su from AMD, the people making the actual chips that power all this. Then you've got software giants like Oracle's Larry Ellison and Safra Catz. It's even co-chaired by the venture capitalist David Sachs. The point is, these aren't just academics. They are the builders and the funders who literally have their hands on the controls of the entire industry. And that brings us right back to this fundamental problem. On the one hand, who else are you going to ask? You need advice from the people who actually built this stuff from the ground up. But on the other hand, every single person on that list runs a company where a tiny change in regulation could mean billions of dollars in profit or loss. It's a classic conflict of interest. So you can see the issue. This is a legal and ethical minefield. How does the government even begin to handle this? Well, it turns out there's a process for that, a specific legal tool designed for exactly this kind of situation. And that tool is called a conflict of interest waiver. Basically, it's a piece of paper from the government that says, look, we know you have skin in the game financially, but your expertise is so critical and your remaining financial conflicts are small enough that we're officially giving you a pass to work on this. And this isn't just some abstract idea. We are looking at the actual White House memo for the council's co-chair, David Sachs. This is a real-world example, and it gives us a fascinating peek behind the curtain at how the government justifies these decisions. Now, here's the kicker. Before he could even get this waiver, Sachs had to do something pretty drastic. The memo shows that he and his firm had to sell off more than $200 million in investments related to the digital asset world. You could call that the price of admission to the policy table. And we're not talking about trimming a few stocks here and there. The memo gets specific. He had to unload all of his liquid crypto, think Bitcoin, Ethereum, and dump stocks in public companies like Coinbase. He even had to get out of venture funds that were focused on crypto. The whole point was to get rid of the most obvious direct financial conflicts he had. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. After selling off over $200 million, what was he allowed to keep? This is what the waiver is all about. If you look at the official breakdown, his remaining private interests through his main venture firm amount to just 3.71% of his total assets, and that number is the key to the whole justification. So why was that okay? Well, here's the official reasoning, straight from the White House memo. They're basically saying that it's just about impossible to find someone with this kind of top-tier expertise who doesn't have some financial connection to the industry. So they decided that the remaining percentage was not so substantial that it would corrupt his advice. It's a calculated trade-off, accept a small defined conflict to get what they see as priceless expertise. But David Sachs is just one person. Now let's pull the camera back and look at the enormous corporate power sitting on this council. We're moving beyond personal investments now and into the financial firepower of some of the biggest companies on planet Earth. And remember, these companies are already experts at playing the influence game in Washington. They've been spending millions on lobbying for years. Just last year, Meta spent around $26 million. Oracle was close to $9 million, and NVIDIA's spending shot up to almost $5 million. They know how to make their voices heard. So let's just add that up. Between just 3 of the companies represented here, you're looking at a combined $40 million spent on lobbying in 1 year alone. But now, it's different. Instead of just paying lobbyists to knock on doors, their CEOs have a seat at the table, advising the government directly. That's a whole different level of access and influence. Okay, so you've got the people, you've got the money, and you've got the influence all in one room. What is the actual playbook they're going to be helping to write? Let's look at the plan.
The government's proposed AI framework is built around these 7 key ideas. And you can see a clear theme emerging, right? You've got things like enabling innovation and ensuring American AI dominance. The language is all about being pro-growth, moving fast, and winning the global AI race, which, is probably exactly the approach you'd expect these industry leaders to support.
But this one right here, this might just be one of the most important goals for these companies. A huge priority is creating a single set of federal rules for AI. Why? Because that would override the messy patchwork of different and often much tougher laws that are starting to pop up in states like California and New York. For a global company like Meta or Google, having one predictable set of rules for the entire country is a massive, massive win.
And that brings us full circle. We started with the official government process, the appointments, the legal waivers, bringing these tech titans inside. And we end here with the reality of what that means. The very architects of the AI revolution now have a direct hand in shaping the rules for everyone else.
So it all boils down to this one crucial question. When a technology is powerful enough to reshape society itself, how do you find the right balance? How do you tap into the genius of its creators without being captured by their influence? There's no easy answer, and figuring it out is one of the biggest challenges we face today.